The other area that I think that, has been talked about a lot here is and that's why we had a whole panel given to religion and culture and secularism and women's rights. And because UN Women is going to be a global entity dealing with all sorts of varieties of behavior patterns, contexts, and so forth, it's important to clarify, and these brilliant speakers earlier and in this panel have all talked about this. And I think we have come to some sort of an understanding in our discussions so far on the idea that what ails us, in effect, is patriarchy, the culture of patriarchy. Patriarchy in some of our minds comes out to mean these mean men, some of whom are with us, the nicer kind. But, but patriarchy is not about men. Patriarchy is about a structure of interaction between people. And it's good for us to remind ourselves that throughout the ages, throughout history, throughout the globe, almost everywhere, the relationship between human beings, female and male human beings, has been almost identical within the family, within the community, in the workplace, in the school. There's always been a vertical relationship, top-down, the father, the teacher, the employer, whatever. And that hierarchical system, which is the essence of patriarchy, and they have duplicated it in religions, in governments, in literature, in the arts, everything has duplicated that structure. That is something that has brought us into this mess that we're in right now. So we need to change this culture. And this culture is capable of changing. As a matter of fact, countries that have not had a culture have in fact changed what they had before they have reached democracy or some semblance of human rights. Remember that we actually started in the United States with all men are created equal. And then we went to the French Revolution with liberty, fraternity, equality, fraternity, no sisterhood, brotherhood. And then it took a long while before women, it was some 100 or some years, and then it was Susan B. Anthony who said to men, their rights and nothing more, to women, their rights and nothing less. 100 years at least, and it took a long time, and we still are not even there. So culture change has to happen, because there was a time when you could say that we're building a new democracy, a people's government, by simply saying all men are created equal and meaning it, because women didn't have the right to vote or participate. So this culture change has happened all around the world whenever individual rights and democratic interaction has had to be created or constituted. And today in the Middle East, we have the same situation. That is, we have groups of people, largely men, we have to admit it, we love to think that there are more women out there, but there are not nearly as many as the men, and they are shouting for democracy. And every survey that we have seen has shown that people in that part of the world, like people everywhere, even more than people elsewhere, love and admire democracy. Whatever statistics you get, they come up 90%, 97% in favor of democracy. But when you come to gay rights, women's rights, to anything having to do with the acceptance of religious difference, then they plunge to 25%, 30%. So when we're talking about these countries transitioning, we have to talk about culture change. It's not enough to overthrow Gaddafi or Mubarak or X or Y. It's important to learn ourselves and be able to integrate in our own way of interacting with each other the concepts of tolerance, of respect, of inclusiveness, of listening respectfully to the other. And that is what we need to bring to the table as women. So I think that we have a whole lot of experience, shared experience among us in how to do that. how to bring about the kind of transformative, participatory interaction between people, leadership, if you will, that will guarantee democratic interaction. And that has to be something that, again, is not dictated to people or preached to people, but it comes about by providing space for people to experience it, to do it together. I remember a friend of mine from an African country, which I won't name, was talking about democracy. She was saying the difference between the guys in the West and the guys in our country is that in the West, when they lose the election, they leave. In our country, when they lose the election, they do not leave. You see? So to internalize this idea that whether it's an argument or if it's a project or if it's a government, if we lose the argument, we have to leave and try again and try better and negotiate until we can win. So I'm taking more than my share because I'm also supposed to wrap up. So I'm saying all that's in my heart all at once in one sitting, and then we'll go on to Q&A if you don't mind. So the interaction in positioning of UN Women is one area where we are supposed to continue these discussions, as was suggested. And the other is of the foundational look at the architecture of human relationships, which is the essence of patriarchy, to have a position on that which is clear and which is basic and which is strongly supported by inclusiveness and understanding that all human beings are created equal and have rights by virtue of their individual humanity. That is something that I promise you, many of us who travel a lot around the world, talk to the grassroots women, you look at that wonderful Declaration of Human Rights, you go down all of those articles, there's not one article that one woman would say, I don't want this right, because you see, I happen to be Chinese, or I don't want this right because I'm from Zimbabwe. Everybody has that aspiration. Nobody has achieved it. The only thing is, they say, don't go to war on our behalf, or waving the Declaration of Human Rights and then doing some other thing. Don't push us around in the name of human rights. Don't play politics with human rights. And allow us to shape the ways we want to implement human rights. And that's, again, something that we have learned in our actual work, all of us, that you have universal rights, but you have contextual implementation and presentation, which is very respectful of diversity. And we have to understand that without that, there is no diversity. There is no possibility of respecting difference. So in that sense, then, we, I think, have begun a very interesting and good conversation on these two general thematics, and we have a really open road ahead of us, and I look forward to reactions from the rest.
Before Manaz sits down, I'd like us all to acknowledge how much work she's done to bring us here together today. It's quite extraordinary.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.